Hi. So, for lack of any other idea at all what to do in a video for today, and I did try very hard to come up with something, um, I'm going to do what I think is my first ever movie trailer reaction video, which is a rite of passage for a YouTube channel, and therefore about time that I got around to it. And but I'm only doing it because a big one happened to become available today. The Eternals, not the Eternals. Just I think the movie's called Eternals, but the Eternals trailer is what I'll be talking about. And so my first thought, there was one before. It didn't make much of an impact for me, and from what I heard and read, other people as well. But this one had more of an impact. There was just more there. And so my first impression of it was that it did not look like any Marvel movie I've ever seen. And now, on the one hand, of course it didn't. Chloé Zhao has not previously directed a Marvel movie, and she directed this one. So, of course, it has its own thing. Her vision is different than other people's visions, and I loved Nomadland, so I'm already a fan of that vision. But a movie like Eternals is not going to be much like Nomadland. It's going to be a superhero thing, and the superhero thing that it reminded me most of was the Snyder cut of Justice League, and to a lesser extent, Batman v Superman. It reminded me of that in tone. The characters, I guess they are the Eternals. I guess they could also be referred to as superheroes, but they reminded me of DC superheroes rather than Marvel superheroes. Marvel superheroes are kind of supposed to be like people, human, and accessible, available there, whereas DC superheroes, your Batman, Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, are more godlike. And these Eternals seem to be more along the lines of gods. And so there was that looking familiar, right up to a character who is not Superman. I want to say it was Icarus, but I don't know. But he did the thing that Superman does, where he shoots lasers from his eyes, and before the lasers came out of his eyes, the area around his eyes kind of started to glow, and it looked like when Henry Cavill does it in the Snyder Superman movies. The monster things looked like Steppenwolf and the other, not necessarily Steppenwolf's minions, but the other more impressive monsters from and aliens from that movie, especially the big orangish thing in the trailer with the 6 eyes running down both sides of his face. I assume they were eyes, they were glowing holes. Usually that indicates eyes with aliens in superhero movies. But anyway, it seemed like I guess if these are kind of gods among Marvel characters, it did seem like on a godly plane, a Mount Olympus overlooking the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I guess there was that. My understanding from the voiceover exposition stuff is that it seems like they are um, they are not over the whole universe, but just Earth. Like they're watching over Earth, and that is their job, but they're not supposed to interfere. I don't know if the trailer revealed who gave them the order not to interfere, but someone even above them. Except now they're going to interfere because of the aforementioned monsters, who I guess the Thanos snap, and then I guess there was another Thanos snap, and then the Hulk snapped, and then Tony Stark snapped. There was a lot of snapping, and all that snapping apparently released the big monsters, and now the Eternals have to go and fight the monsters because I guess the Avengers can't. I did have a thought toward the end of the trailer that I don't know how much crossover, like it felt like this could be a one-off, or like they stay in their corner and they don't cross over with other superheroes because they're so far above those superheroes. But I don't know. There probably will be crossovers and joining them up. Maybe one of them or more joins the Avengers at one point. I have absolutely no idea because I haven't read any of the comics. I don't know how these characters interact. But it did feel like it was within the universe, impacted by the universe, but its own thing. Um, so the main draw of this movie for me personally um, is Selma Hayek, who uh, uh, provided the initial um, voiceover exposition. It's not exposition, I guess it's lines in the movie, but explaining how things are going. Uh, and also, well, Chloe Zhao, of course. I didn't know Brian Tyree Henry was in it until I saw him in this trailer. Maybe he was in the last one and I just missed him. But he now is a draw. And then Kumail Nanjiani, who my understanding is that he became very physically impressive for this role. And with him, he's got his very specific style of comedy that he does. He's got his very specific pattern, the way that his voice works, the way that he emphasizes words. And he's hilarious. And sometimes this is used well in movies, and sometimes it is used less well in movies. My guess is that this time around it's going to be used well. He doesn't say anything in the trailer. He does a cool superhero hand thing. Beams shoot out of his hands, presumably in self-defense. But my guess is that with someone like Chloe Zhao in charge, it will be used well. She will harness the power of Kumail Nanjiani's personality and wit, and focus it in ways that that emphasize its strengths and really go far. That's not really to do with the trailer, though. That's more just general what I'm looking forward to in the movie. I'm distracted by my hair too, just so that you don't feel like it's just you. I'm distracted by the coil coming out of my head as well. So let me think if there's anything else that any other thoughts that I had. And about Angelina Jolie also. She's not, for me personally, as big of a draw, but it's always interesting when she plays a supernatural, godlike force of a person character, because she kind of is. One of my favorite lines about her in a movie review is from a review of Maleficent, where I think it was Slate's movie critic said only Angelina Jolie can make flying over a magical forest on 6-foot feathery wings look like just something she does every day casually. That's not exactly what the words were, but that was the gist of it, and it was a great, I think, just that's how I feel about her as well in movies. But I just was lucky enough to find Dogma on DVD at one of the local secondhand DVD places, which is more than a secondhand DVD place, but it's where I look for secondhand DVDs, and that is a hard to find DVD. And I watched it, so that was my first Selma Hayek experience, and I've just been not this because when I first saw the movie way back when, that was my first Selma Hayek experience. I've been a big fan ever since, so she is my main draw. But it looks like also just it's going to be an ensemble effort, maybe a little bit more for the bigger stars to do. Angelina Jolie probably has more to do than Brian Tyree Henry, but it looks like it's going to be pretty evenly distributed. And there seems to be there's a character that looks like she's a kid. I don't know. Maybe it's a character called Sprite, played by Leah McHugh, who is 13 years old. That's probably it. It's fun to have kids in these sorts of things. I love Omega. Is my favorite part of the Star Wars one, the Bad Batch. So that probably is going to be fun. Kit Harington, Jon Snow, he's in it. I'm just looking at the people who are in it. I didn't recognize him in the trailer, but then I saw him on the cast list. I have enjoyed him. He's not one of the main ones, and for me, but I'm sure he'll be great. It's what I'm mostly looking forward to is how Chloe Zhao harnesses all of the talent and powers of all of these people, and how it comes out, and that more than connection to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is my interest in the movie. Um, and it looks like it looks very promising. I never get excited about, well, pretty much with I got excited about Black Panther. I got excited about Endgame because of Infinity War. But for the most part, I don't particularly get excited about Marvel movies. I see most, if not all of them. I see most of them long after they've been in movie theaters. Or these days also premium Disney Plus. Um, and this, what I'm feeling about this movie is more along the lines of not quite to Black Panther or Endgame levels, but more along the lines of one of those. So I probably will not go to a movie theater to see it unless things dramatically turn around by November 5th. But I look forward to somehow experiencing it. And maybe one day seeing it on a big screen because, again, Chloé Zhao. Visuals. Anyway, that's my, I think, first trailer reaction for my bits and pieces in between things series. Tomorrow is Fairy Tale Friday. It's another Taylor fairy tale, but it has a much it has the worst Taylor of all the Taylors. It's the most worst Taylor, but the most satisfying outcome for the Taylor, even if it is not explicitly stated what that outcome is. It's also 2 minutes long, like last week's was 1 minute. Anyway, seatbelts, everyone.